Sue Bird and what she was saying about the new CBA, and this is something that I actually feel like is a big positive.
The winds of change are blowing through the WNBA, and this time, it's not coming from a player, a coach, or even the commissioner. It's coming from one of the most respected voices in basketball history, Sue Bird. In a recent conversation that sent ripples through the women's basketball world, Sue didn't hold back. She exposed exactly how the new WNBA Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, could completely redefine what it means to play professional women's basketball, not just for Americans, but for every elite player on the planet. For years, the WNBA has proudly called itself the best women's basketball league in the world.
Of what is going to come from this new CBA. And that you are going, the WNBA is going to be, the WNBA is the best league in the world. I'll twist my words here. The WNBA is the best league in the world. But it doesn't have all the best players in the world. It has a lot of the best players in the world. But there are so many players that either they go to WNBA and they're not ready.
But as Sue pointed out, that hasn't exactly been true. Not because of the competition, not because of the talent, but because the best players in the world weren't all here. Many of them stayed overseas, chasing bigger paychecks in Turkey, France, and Russia, places that paid double, sometimes triple what the WNBA could offer. That's where the new CBA changes everything. More money, more roster spots, more flexibility. And Sue Bird believes that's the key to unlocking the true potential of this league. Because when the WNBA can finally afford to compete with Europe financially, the balance of global talent shifts. Suddenly, it's not just about the best American players, it's about the best players in the world, period. Sue put it best when she said she hopes this deal brings more European players into the W.
And because there's so few spots end up in Europe and they kill it. Or like, they're players that are late developers or players just didn't want to go over. Like Maria Conde, who was taking the expansion draft by the Valkyries, is literally like, she is a borderline starter level WNBA player.
Giving Team USA stars a chance to face them year-round, not just at the Olympics. But her words carry a deeper meaning. This isn't just about players crossing borders. It's about the WNBA crossing into a new era, an era where the talent gap closes, international stars collide with American icons, and the league finally becomes what it was always meant to be, the global home of women's basketball greatness.
In these European leagues, people don't care about building a legacy. They go wherever's going to pay them the most and wherever they have the best chance of winning. Like, the best players in the world join the best teams. Like, that's like Mbappe joined Madrid, who just won the Champions League. Like that type of thing that happens in Europe. So Emma going to a ready-made contender is kind of a given.
But what exactly did Sue Bird reveal? And how will this new CBA flip the WNBA upside down? Let's break it down. To understand why Sue Bird's comments hit so hard, you have to understand the problem the WNBA's been facing for decades, a quiet but constant talent drain. For years, the league has been filled with elite players, no doubt. A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Napheesa Collier.
But let's take a listen to what Sue Bird has said.
My one hope is that now, especially with potentially a new CBA, more money, more European players coming here, does that give American players like a look at, like, think about like Dawn Malunga, great example. She's in Seattle, so shout out, great example. So now, yeah, on one side of it, she's gonna get comfortable with American players, but like Aaliyah, you're gonna get comfortable with her.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm wondering if, you know, once the CBA hits, I do think more European players will come over. Does that kind of level it a little more? But TBD, it's definitely something I'm thinking about.
That's why legends like Emma Meesseman, Johannes, and Valerian Vukosavljevic often chose to stay overseas. They weren't ducking the competition, they were chasing stability. The WNBA, with its small rosters and short seasons.
And she just didn't want to come over. Valu Ayayi could be a starter at the WNBA level, albeit yesterday. She did not want to come over. Mariana Ortiz could be a solid bench player. Clara Lundqvist or Clara Holm now, she could be a really good backup player. And we saw it with Janelle Salon, who's a starter. She's a starter in the WNBA. She just didn't feel like coming over for a few years.
simply didn't offer that. Sue Bird's point wasn't just about money, it was about access. She's saying the WNBA hasn't truly been the best league in the world because it hasn't had all the best players. Too many international stars never came over, or they came too early, struggled to find minutes, and went back to Europe to dominate. Think about it. Players like Julie Van Loo, Ileana Rupert, and even Gabby Williams have had winding careers bouncing between leagues, shining overseas, only to be role players or forgotten names in the W. Sue's vision for this new CBA changes that. With more money, expanded teams, and real financial incentive, Europe's best will want to come to the WNBA, not as a side hustle, but as their mainstay.
And obviously, look, I would assume this is in the context of Sue Bird with Team USA, and that it's kind of hard going at the international level when it's just a completely different style of basketball. You're not used to any of these players, and it's a bit different when they go to, when you're getting used to them in the WNBA, but like the international teams play a different style anyway, so it's like you can get used to playing, hypothetically in the NBA, you can get used to playing Dennis Schroeder. What you can't get used to is playing Dennis Schroeder when you put in the
And when that happens, the WNBA transforms overnight from a national league into a global super league. But here's where it gets spicy, because this transformation doesn't just help the international players, it changes everything for American stars too. So what exactly is hidden inside this new CBA that Sue Bird says will change the WNBA forever? Let's break it down. First off, this isn't just about a salary bump, it's about a total restructuring of how money flows through the league. The upcoming deal is expected to introduce expanded salary caps, revenue-sharing models, and potentially bigger team rosters, all designed to give franchises the freedom to pay more and build deeper, stronger teams. That means no more cutting solid bench talent just to fit under the cap. No more watching late-blooming international stars dominate overseas because there's no room for them here. The WNBA's old system, with 12 teams and 144 total roster spots, was like trying to fit the world's best players into a shoebox. The CBA opens that box and throws it away. And here's where Sue Bird's insight hits home. She's not just talking about signing more players. She's talking about integrating global basketball culture into the WNBA ecosystem. Because right now, the game in Europe is different. It's slower, more tactical, more about ball movement and spacing. And that's exactly what makes those players so dangerous when they face Team USA. Bird believes that if those players come to the WNBA full-time, American stars will finally get used to that European rhythm. Imagine A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart facing players like Johannes or Ileana Rupert every week, not just every 4 years at the Olympics. That's how the talent gap closes, not through national pride, but through constant competition. And it's not just about the top players. Mid-tier athletes, the Julies, Claras, Valeries of the world, will now see a future in the WNBA.
Satu, when she played in Turkey, probably made 300-400k. Like, the only player that's been confirmed to have made over $1 million is Taurasi when she was in Russia. I think Meesseman's on 750k or something to play in Turkey. So, but like that's the top. So if you're offering $1 million, maybe Emma doesn't come over, but like outside of the top 3 or 4 European players, nobody's coming close to that. Even the vet men at 300k, the vast majority of even good players, like a Monica Comakani, like it would incentivize. Actually, Awakui is still on an old rookie deal.
The new CBA could finally merge two basketball worlds that have existed in parallel for too long. Europe's technical mastery meets America's athletic power, all under one roof. But there's a twist, and it's one Sue Bird hinted at, whether she meant to or not. Because while this new era sounds like a dream, it could also create tension inside the league itself. Here's where things start to heat up, because Sue Bird's comments didn't just spark optimism, they sparked debate. Inside locker rooms, among agents, even within front offices, one question is now echoing louder than ever. If the WNBA opens its doors to more international players, who's going to lose their spot? For years, the league has been dominated by U.S. talent, college stars turned pros, homegrown faces that fuel the fan base. But as Sue Bird pointed out, the CBA could make it financially worthwhile for Europe's elite to come over. That means competition for minutes, contracts, and endorsements is about to explode. Think about it. Players like like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart are untouchable. But what about the next tier? The Lexi Hulls, the Dejanay Carringtons, the Alana Smiths of the league. Those are the ones who might find themselves squeezed as the floodgates open to a new wave of global talent. It's the natural evolution of a league going global, but not everyone is going to like it. And Sue Bird knows that. You can hear it in her tone. She wasn't just predicting change, she was warning everyone to be ready for it, because the players who've been comfortably secure in their roles might suddenly find themselves battling European sharpshooters and 6'5" stretch forwards who can shoot 40% from deep. This isn't theory, it's already happening. Look at the Seattle Valkyries, where Dominique Malonga is proving she can go toe-to-toe with WNBA veterans. Or the rise of Ileana Rupert and Emma Meesseman, who've brought a European pace and discipline that's reshaping how offenses operate. And then there's the cultural factor. In the US, the WNBA is about personality, loyalty, and legacy. Players building brands and rivalries over years. In Europe, it's all business. Players jump teams every season, chasing rings and contracts, not history. When that mentality hits the WNBA full force, the dynamics inside the league are going to shift dramatically. Sue Bird isn't trying to start a war, but she's making it clear that a collision is coming. A collision between tradition and transformation, between national pride and global expansion. And once it happens, there's no going back. Let's get into the real mechanics of this, because Sue Bird wasn't just speaking from passion, she was speaking from experience. Few players understand the financial chessboard of women's basketball better than her.
So she's kind of fucked. But it would like incentivize, hypothetically, it would incentivize a Wakuir to come back. Because a Wakuir is really good. Like, she came as a really raw prospect in the 2021 draft, was not ready. Played 2 seasons. She played 3 seasons in WNBA. I think she played 3 seasons, was just not ready. She just wasn't ready. And then it's only been the last season and this season where she's really made the step up. She was out at the WNBA in 2024, had a really solid season.
Here's the harsh truth she's highlighting. For decades, the WNBA has been losing its economic battle, not its competitive one. Players didn't skip the WNBA because they didn't want to compete. They skipped it because the money never made sense. Overseas, even mid-tier stars could make $400,000 to $600,000 per season. Legends like Diana Taurasi once earned over $1 million playing in Russia, more than double what the WNBA could pay its MVPs. So when Sue Bird talks about the new CBA bringing balance, she's talking about money finally keeping talent at home. Early details suggest this CBA could include expanded marketing deals, enhanced player revenue shares, and bigger bonuses for postseason success. It's not just base salary, it's ownership participation, the kind of system that makes players feel invested in the league's growth, not just their own stats. And the impact doesn't stop with international players. American rookies like Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese stand to gain the most. Instead of chasing side gigs or overseas contracts to stay afloat, they'll be able to earn, build their brands, and stay in the States year-round. But this isn't just about money, it's about mindset. With more global players joining, the WNBA becomes a laboratory of styles. European pick-and-roll precision meets American athleticism and flair. Games become chess matches, not track meets. Teams like the Aces or Liberty will have to adapt. No more overpowering weaker competition. Every night becomes an international test. And remember, Sue Bird's perspective isn't theoretical. She's been on both sides, a WNBA icon and a player who spent winters dominating in Russia. She's lived the reality she's describing. So when she says this new CBA could change everything, it's not hype. It's a veteran seeing the horizon before anyone else, and warning that this change won't just elevate the league, it will redefine it entirely. But there's one more layer to this, the cultural and political impact. Because if the WNBA becomes truly global, what does that mean for American dominance, for Team USA, and for how the league markets itself? Here's where Sue Bird's revelation hits the global stage, because this new CBA isn't just about economics or rosters, it's about identity. For decades, the WNBA has been proudly American, built around NCAA legends, US rivalries, and Team USA's golden dominance. Every Olympic cycle, it's the same story. Team USA steamrolls through international competition, but that era of automatic supremacy might be ending, and ironically, Sue Bird herself could be part of the reason why. By encouraging more international players to join the WNBA, Bird's vision could erode the separation between Team USA and the rest of the world. When European, African, and Asian stars go head-to-head with American talent every every week, those global players stop being mysterious challengers. They become equals, teammates, rivals, and tactical threats who know the US style inside out. In other words, the WNBA's growth could make Team USA's life harder, and that's not a bad thing. It's progress. Fans will start seeing rivalries not based on nationality, but philosophy. You'll have American super teams driven by speed and aggression, clashing with international rosters who use finesse, spacing, and execution to outsmart them. Imagine a league where Emma Meesseman and Asia Wilson headline MVP races together, or where a rookie from Spain goes viral for crossing up Caitlin Clark. That's the kind of parity the NBA achieved decades ago. Now, it's finally coming for the W. The cultural impact is massive, too. A global WNBA means new fan bases, millions of viewers from France, Belgium, Turkey, and China watching their heroes every week. It means new sponsorships, new media deals, and new storylines that stretch beyond American borders. The W will no longer just stand for women's, it'll stand for worldwide. But this transformation comes with a price. The WNBA's core identity, built on American college stardom and loyalty, could fade. Local fan favorites might lose spots to global talent. Teams will evolve into multicultural, transnational brands. And yet, Sue Bird sees that future as necessary. Because if the WNBA wants to compete with the NBA, it can't just be America's league. It has to be the world's. And now, the question isn't whether it will happen. It's whether the league is ready for what comes next. When Sue Bird talks, people listen, not because she's loud, but because she's right. This is a woman who spent 2 decades watching the WNBA evolve, rise, and struggle, sometimes all at once. She's lived through low salaries, packed overseas seasons, short rosters, and long flights. Imagine it, a WNBA where Caitlin Clark is running pick and rolls with Emma Meesseman, where Angel Reese battles it out under the rim against 6'5" European sharpshooters who can stretch the floor, where every game feels like an Olympic matchup, but with WNBA energy, rivalries, and pride on the line. That's what Sue Bird is pushing toward. That's what this new era could look like. But make no mistake, this won't be smooth sailing. There will be backlash. There will be players who feel squeezed out, teams that struggle to adapt, and fans who question what happened to their version of the league. Change always comes with resistance, yet every great leap forward in sports has one thing in common: someone brave enough to call out the truth before everyone else sees it. And that's exactly what Sue Bird just did. She's not just talking about basketball, she's talking about transformation, about globalization, inclusion, and evolution. She's saying that if the WNBA wants to be the best league in the world, it has to become the world. So, as the next CBA looms, one question hangs in the air. Will the league embrace this shift or fight it? Because one thing's for sure, once the money rises, once the doors open, and once the world's top talent starts calling the W home, the game will never be the same again. This isn't just a new deal, it's the start of a new world order in women's basketball. And as Sue Bird just made clear, that change is already in motion. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to Her Hoops, where we cover the biggest WNBA stories, drama, and power shifts every week.